Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. We are here just minutes after the Raiders start off with a 17-0 lead. Chiefs battle back. Raiders battle back. In the end, it ends, I guess, almost poetically with Hunter and Devontae running into each other, knocking each other down on the final offensive play for the Raiders, and the Raiders fall 30-29 as 7.5-point underdogs. Another one slips away. Can't put together one full game. It's always one good half, one bad half.
At this point, we have to start looking at where we can build. What's helping us. Now, I'm not saying that we give up on the season, but we have to start looking at things that can help us beyond this season, not just for this season. 1-4. Look, is it possible to go 9-3 the next 12 games? Sure, it's possible, but the fact that we haven't played an entire game is very concerning. Very concerning indeed.
The last time we lost a game to the Chiefs, we thought the season was over, and we battled back, right? Got 4 straight wins, won. Bye week coming up, chance to get healthy. The soft part of our schedule comes up. I mean, we could easily
there is
win
no
4
soft
of the
part.
next 5.
We're the soft part of people's schedules. That's what we're not
This
seeing.
is the thing. We're playing everyone so tough.
It doesn't matter, RJ. It doesn't matter.
Moving forward, it does.
No, it doesn't.
The record matters. The record matters. But look, we scored more points against the Chiefs than anyone other than
who cares, RJ? Who cares?
Moving forward, it matters.
It does not matter. It does not matter. What matters is we had a 17-3 lead and we stopped scoring. That's what matters. Or was it 17-0? 17-0 lead. And we stopped scoring. That's what matters. A
lot of things happened because the pass rush that we had that was giving Mahomes all kinds of trouble early, that disappeared.
Whatever you want to say, we had a 3-score lead and we stopped
the pass rush didn't happen?
Scoring. No. I'm saying is everyone's going to see, oh, well, Renfro ran into him and we shouldn't have gone for 2 and this and that. Look, you keep putting points on the board, we don't get into that position. We have to keep scoring. I'm not saying it's on our quarterback. I'm not saying it's on the penalties. I'm not saying it's on McDaniels. But as an offense, you get a 3-score lead on KC in KC. You have to keep scoring the ball. If you stop scoring the ball, that's the real issue here.
We have to keep playing all versions of football: offense, defense, special teams. Like we have to keep playing complete football, right? And all 3, well, not all 3, because special teams, obviously Daniel Carlson was still Daniel Carlson, but that pass rush that was giving Mahomes so much problems in the first quarter and a half disappeared, and then Mahomes just went absolutely bonkers. Or Mahomes went Mahomes, right? And then Travis Kelce, 4 touchdowns. Everyone watching on television, everyone in that stadium, whether you're wearing silver and black or that shitty red, knew they were going to go to the tight end that will remain nameless, and still never could cover him. I don't understand. Andy Reid has found ways to scheme Travis Kelce open in all of these situations, right? Why can't Josh McDaniels do that with Devontae Adams? That's what I'm wondering. We got such a special receiver, and he still went balls out for us. A couple big touchdown passes, a couple big touchdown catches, three receptions, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes is just it's a recipe, man. It's a recipe that no one's really been able to figure out. Raiders almost did.
Again, the almost did stuff. Look, more miscommunication between quarterback and receiver, miscommunication between receiver and receiver. You know for a fact that you're not going to hold a Mahomes team down like that. You know your defense isn't that good. You know it's not. Okay? And they can play well in spurts, but over the long haul, they're just not talented. We're just not that talented. We need more talent defensively. We have some pieces, but we need more talent. With that being said, You have to keep scoring points. I just don't understand why message boards. I hear you, I see you. Some of you are pieces of shit. Some of you have are really know what's going on. You got to keep throwing. You have to keep scoring. You can't stop, and you need 7s, not 3s, and you can't rely on 50 yards of pass interferences to get you down to touchdowns. You got to make plays. There was plays made early. There was plays made late, but just honestly, there just wasn't enough plays made.
Yeah, like I said, the Raiders put up more points against the Chiefs than anyone except for Tom Brady and the Bucs. So a lot of blame to go around. Plenty of blame to go around both sides of the ball, right? I mean, like I said, that pass rush was doing so great for us early, and then it disappeared, and then Mahomes was able to Mahomes. Jacobs had a hell of a game. 21 carries, 154 yards. Kept us in this game, kept it close. And then the refs. We got to talk about the refs because they had that roughing the passer on Derek Carr that everyone lost their shit about. I'm saying, hey, I'll take it. And then they spent the next game doing like trying to make up for it. Like these refs were deathly afraid they weren't going to leave this stadium with their lives intact. And so we talked on last week's show or this week's show, how like the penalties that like Josh McDaniels' biggest thing that he's done so far for the Raiders, he's gotten the penalties down. 11 penalties for 99 yards against the Raiders, including that insane holding penalty on that field goal attempt that the Chiefs missed, and they got to go back and then they actually scored. So that's what I'm saying is there's 17 different plays and moments that could have made the Raiders win this one, which is why like the optimism is still there for me in this season that when we're this close to beating everybody, right? Like we're a possession away from beating everyone we've played. Like at some point we're going to like go back to the mean, right? Like we keep losing all these super close games. At some point we're going to start winning some of these super close games.
And you know what? It could be too little too late.
Could be.
That's the problem. Is it could be too little too late. And I love to break down tape. I love to break down film, but it's very easy to look at snapshots and to tell us like, okay, there was an issue last week about how Alex Bars was good for the line. Well, I'm looking at my eyeballs, and with my eyeballs, I see the best run blocking we've had last week against a really good defensive front. Alex Bars was in the game. I'm not picking on the guys at Tape Don't Lie. I think they do a fantastic job. They pick a couple of plays where Alex Bars played really poor in the red zone. And he's trash. People were coming at me. He's trash. He's this, he's that. Well, he was a part of one of the units that had the best run blocking up into that point in the year. So you can isolate specific plays, but the better thing is to isolate patterns when you look at tape. No one's going to be perfect the entire game. Look at Devontae Adams in the last play. I don't know whose fault that was. I don't know who ran the route wrong or who ran it shallow or who got knocked off their route. I don't know. But nobody's perfect. What you have to look at is patterns. So right now, I see a pattern of us not being able to sustain an identity. It was penalties got us into a bad situation where we had to throw the ball more. And when we're throwing the ball without running the ball, that's when we got into trouble. That's when we didn't score points. When we were running the ball, the pass worked. When we weren't running the ball because we were behind with penalties, the passes didn't work so well. Even that fourth down play, it was basically we were against a running defense because everyone was single and everyone was loaded in the box. That's the reason why it worked. So I love breaking down tape, but it's very easy to get fooled on specific plays and when you're not out here looking at patterns. Because another great rushing effort by Jacobs with the combination of linemen that we had.
All right, breaking news. This was just shown on ESPN. It's Davante Adams just shoving a cameraman to the floor.
The fuck out of the way.
That is a frustrated wide receiver right there. Look at this. Whoop.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't get suspended.
That's what I was wondering. Just hit him with a fine. In all fairness, the guy was getting right in front of him. You know what I mean? Waller's is Missouri a hold your ground state? Can he push people that are in the way? I know. I got to look at some state law. Darren Waller played 6 offensive snaps and then went out with a hamstring. There's a lot of disappointments this season. I think Darren Waller has got to be the biggest one. The second he got that bag, he has just been useless, either hurt and not playing or dropping passes.
Yeah, he got paid his money and he stopped wanting to play. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here. Ultimately, we didn't need him. We did well without him. It did probably change the game plan a little bit. The issue that I'm having here is just the up and down, man. The up and down. It's you can't win this way. You can't win having such a inconsistent offensive effort, inconsistent defensive effort. Our special teams are always consistent, but it's just you can't have it. And it's not about the effort. Effort is the wrong word. It's results. You can't win without having these inconsistent results.
A field photographer got a shot at Darren Waller pulling his hamstring. That's Darren Waller pulling his hammy from lugging his bag around. Gets all that money and stops playing. Not even a smile, Soto. Come on, that's pretty funny.
Oh, really?
And Foster Morrow gone too. Didn't play as well. So tight end room, kind of a mess. Tight end room, an issue here. A lot. What did you make of Mike McDaniels' multiple like big decisions? There was the going for 2 at the end, that play call on that 4th and 1. I don't know. Just run through because there were some pretty big like individual moments for McDaniels' decision making.
I thought for the most part they were good decisions. You know for a fact that you need to put up points against this team. You can't fall behind against this team and become one-dimensional. So that first fourth down pass call to Davante Adams, smart call. I mean, you have to put up points, man. You have to put up 7s against this team. And you got to get up early. The only way you can keep running the ball is to get up early, and that's what happened. We got up early. We got another stop. We ran the ball again. Fortunate to get some pass interference calls. So good stuff, man. The 2-point conversion. I understand why he did it. Right now, I don't know if it's smart to say, oh, I agree with it or I disagree with it, because ultimately, at least you can defend it. I can understand why he went for 2.
Yeah.
You're on the road. You don't know if you're gonna get the ball back. If you are, you don't know. Like it's a lot of things going on right now. But ultimately, a couple bad penalties really hurt us. That Malcolm Coots penalty was rough.
Trash.
It was. The
ref spent the entire second half doing make goods.
Yeah.
On penalty calls.
Yeah, that was tough, man. And ultimately, I keep going back to the same thing. You know, you're not going to hold down this team the whole game. It's just not going to happen. So when you get a lead on them, you have to keep scoring. That's what the Bills did last year. The Bills, they got a lead on them, and they never let them back in the game. They kept scoring, and they kept putting something on the board. And yeah, it was like 17-0 or 14-0, and they ended up winning 38-27 because they kept scoring points. They kept putting points on the board. And unfortunately, it's a lot to ask of our defense to hold this team down for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at the time of possession in the second half. Our offense didn't move the ball a lot. Our defense was on the field a lot. So that last stop was extra huge. And we just couldn't put those two halves together offensively.
What do you think the problem was in the second half offensively?
Penalties put us in a couple of the drives. Penalties put us in.
I would say every drive we didn't score, it was the penalty that killed us. That very first drive.
It was early. It was early penalties too. There was, again, the penalties took us out of our game plan. It took us out of what we should do. It made us too pass reliant. And, I'm not a big fan of this season of our quarterbacks audibles at the line. It's almost guaranteed going to be a check down or a 4-yard gain. It's not anything that is going to really help us. So what are you checking out of? That's the better option. I mean, it's just a lot of inconsistency, man. A lot of indecision. It's tough. It's a tough loss. Yeah. Our buddy,
should we tell Graham to blink twice to see if he's still alive?
Our buddy Brian was here watching it with me, and he's like, "Who's that guy? That guy's look like he's about to start crying." I'm like, "That's a defensive coordinator." But you know what? Look,
Andy Reid didn't even spit on it before he did what he did to Patrick Graham.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Patrick Graham still got the last laugh. He got the stop at the end, and we had the ball.
After they scored on like 7 of 8 drives.
Yeah, and we didn't score at all. It's like you got to look at it from both perspectives here, and especially when you have that kind of lead, and you're going against this high-powered offense, you have to put and look. Ultimately, we're not that talented on defense. We have pieces, but you're not going to keep this offense down forever. You have to keep scoring, and I don't put that all on Graham. There was a couple of questionable calls in some of those three-man rushes and stuff like that, where guys were still wide open with 8 guys dropping back in coverage.
I just can't fathom Kelsey being wide open constantly. Like I can't fathom that. Like, is that just terrible execution? Just forgetting about him? Like, that has to be addressed. Like, you're right. Like, the Chiefs put up 30 points. That's not crazy, right? Like, they're gonna do that a lot, right? It's how. It's the obvious. It's Kelsey being wide open in the red zone every single time they're in the red zone. It's like,
yeah. Look,
where they're going.
Ultimately, guys, look, I think, and let me know what you think about this, RJ. I've been thinking about this a lot. I think one of the main things that Josh McDaniels is trying to do is create a better identity for this team. Because right now, most of our money offensively is tied in to the skill player positions, right? But we've seen that that's really not the best way for us to win games. It's run the football, be consistent with running the ball, throw when we need to, take your shots, convert on those shots.
Well, the Devontae one has worked out great, right? 3 receptions, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He's the fucking best player.
And
he's the best wide receiver in the game.
And that doesn't include like 50-something yards of pass interference penalties that he also picked up, right?
I mean, if you can get that guy, if you can get him, you don't need to pay a Renfro like that. You don't need to that's what I'm saying is you can shift that money to other places. Once you get your quarterback and the best receiver in the league locked in, you don't need to pay a lot of money to another receiver. Was what I'm trying to say. You can have complementary guys once they get locked in the same page on the system. Is the shift is? I think we're getting to a little bit of a shift identity wise to be more of a running style team, more of a bruising style team, and we're going to need the pieces to complement that. And we just need more talent on defense. We just don't have enough talent on defense.
Yeah, I think McDaniels is starting to kind of find his groove. Like I've been beating the drum ever since we found out just how bad this O-line is. Like, you can't have Carr doing 5-step drops like all the time, right? Like, you just can't do it. Like, the O-line's not going to hold him. It's just not going to work. And so our O-line is not great at run blocking, but better at run blocking. And like you've been talking about forever, like that. I think this was exactly the type of game you've wanted for Carr all season, where a lot of run, some play action. If he has to put on the cape and do some heroics, he did. Like that last touchdown pass to Devontae when he was evading a rush. Like, he can do it, right? Like, he can do it. It's just demanding.
It's got to be very controlled. It's got to be very controlled. I don't think you can agree with that. It's got to. You can't just have it, wide open willy nilly. That's not going to work.
If we had KC's line, I would say, all right, maybe like let's really open up Devontae and Hunter and Waller, but we don't, right?
But the thing is, that's not our best way to win. We've seen what our best way to win is run the ball well, take shots when you can. That's when our quarterback is the most effective, when he finds the matchups. And that's his pre-snap knowledge, and that's his pre-snap his gifts pre-snap. He's able to, but if you kind of pigeonhole the defense into those situations, it becomes easier, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do. I don't know moving forward what we do here. There's a couple different ways to go. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff like this. Raiders 70. I'm still the best fucking picture out of anybody. Raiders 75-28. We need to keep that top draft pick and start shopping. I mean that's one way to look at it. We
can't do a rebuild. This isn't a rebuild situation. Not with all those big contracts all in 3-year deals. Like this isn't a team that can rebuild the way the contracts are set up. Nor should it be. Like there's the obvious holes, right, with our DBs and our O-line. Like it's simple as that. Like keep everything else in order, improve those 2 units.
I love Diablo and I love Perryman, but they're not what we need on our defense. They're not fit for a Patrick Graham defense. They're not that good against the pass. And safety-wise, Merrick got exposed again by a tall, slow white guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like what the hell? You know,
the most embarrassing guys to get exposed against.
It's just, come on, man. One of those things that we need to just be very honest about what's going on here. Yeah. Our linebacking core is not a modern NFL linebacking core. As fast as Diablo is, he's gotten much better against the run. He's not all that great against the pass, and we saw it today.
Hobbs had a rough game. We've been talking about how great Nate Hobbs has been, a second-year player. He had it rough a little bit.
Hobbs had a rough game.
A lot of individual defensive players had a rough.
Our secondary did not want to come to tackle today. We had a lot of missed tackles in the secondary, and that's look. I understand that our guys have flashed on tape, and that's great, but ultimately they're not that talented. They're not that good. Hobbs is a star player. Hobbs just didn't have a good game, but some of these other guys we had out there. We had Webb out there he flashed in preseason, but I mean, you're going to have him go against Mahomes and some of those guys he has out there. I mean, pretty much Mahomes, because Mahomes will throw a guy open. Yeah. We just, I hate to say it, but Merrick was exposed in this game quite a bit. He was the guy that was supposed to be one of our key pieces in the secondary. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out. And I'm going to come back to it every single time. And you guys are going to get tired of hearing it. But we got to keep scoring. We can't stop scoring. And part of it was execution. Part of it was design. Part of it was penalties offensively. But ultimately, it all you put it all in the stew. You put it all in the pot. And everyone gets an equal blame.
Well, it took Chandler Jones 4 weeks to finally do something, but he had a pretty good game. Not big on the stat sheet, but he was disruptive, causing a lot of pressures, getting some tackles.
A lot of tackles behind the line. He had a lot of tackles for loss. He
only had 4. He had no tackles for loss, technically.
Really?
According to the stat sheet.
Must have been right at the line of scrimmage then.
Yeah. 4 total tackles, 3 solo. But again, he was disruptive. Because I know before, like Josh McDaniels has been saying, it's like, oh, Chandler, the stat sheet's not showing up, but he's doing some stuff you don't see. It's like, no, he's not. He wasn't. This game he did. Now Josh McDaniels says that what Chandler Jones does, he actually did this season. Pressures, disruption. He was causing running backs to cut back inside or outside, making Mahomes throw the ball away, throw shitty ones, that kind of shit.
Realist Raider, they are starting to get it. Bye week, then the Raiders are rolling. Howard, don't play this game, man. Should have kicked the ball to tie it up. We had the ball. We were driving. Carlson's going to make that kick.
It's one of 17 things that could have went our way or the other, but this was
Jacobs.
That was so low. That was so low on the errors we made.
Koji, oh my God, dude, what did I say today? You have PTSD.
See, this is why I'm glad that we're on that text chain, because you get all of your irrational car hate out there and you get it out of your system, and you're much more rational on air, and you make much better radio this way. Like I'm proud of you.
Look, when it's somebody plays poorly, I'm going to call it out. When there's a pattern of poor play, I'm going to call it out. I'm not blaming Derek Carr for this loss, because ultimately we have the ball at the end of the game, regardless of anything that I saw in the game that was a poor play, like taking that sack when he could have thrown the ball at
which
who
sack?
was it? That 11-yard sack when he could have thrown the ball at Zeus's feet.
Oh, and Parham just like let the dude go through, and Carr had no shot.
That's
that
not
one.
True. That's not true. Don't
what?
say that when it's not true. Don't say
you can't be talking about that one. When Parham literally did this, and Carr turns around, and there's an end in his face.
I'm not trying to make this a Derek Carr thing, okay? First off, you made me say his name, which I'm very upset about. Don't try to make it what it's not. I'm trying to be very objective here on what I actually saw. I'm not trying to blame him, okay? And you just can't be objective about this. You're gonna have to go the opposite way. So, can we just move on, please? Can we just move on to something else?
I'm not trying to make it about a Carr thing either, but you blamed that sack on Carr when it's a play action. He turns around and then the end's already on his face. Like
that's not what happened.
That's literally what happened. All right, we'll move on.
Yeah, RJ, stop getting on your phone.
What?
And getting in the chats. Okay, I just called you out.
Yeah, I'm going under. I'm under multiple people's names. I'm Johnny Goes. I'm Koji.
Look, we all know you have burner phones, bro.
Parham was a revolving door. Parham had a rough game. I would put him in the top 5 guys with the roughest game.
Look, if you're gonna go up against Chris Jones, as anybody, I don't care who you are. Chris Jones has one of the biggest cocks in the NFL. It's fucking verified. Go look at his combine tape, his 40 combine tape, and he's just an amazing player, dude. It's like you're talking about a mini. What the fuck's his name? I'm drawing a blank because I had a lot of beer tonight. A mini Aaron Donald. Okay. He's a defensive tackle that can.
From what you described him, there's nothing mini about him.
No, I guess that's like a minivan he has in between his legs. More like it.
A mini tripod,
dude. Like, hey, if you guys want to do something crazy, just Google Chris Jones 40 combine. Just 40-yard dash.
And make sure you're on a work computer when you do it.
Yeah,
probably the best way. Just
make sure you're by yourself.
Yeah,
with no pants on.
Let's talk again about Josh Jacobs and just what a game he had. The Chiefs had the number 1 rushing defense in football. Number 1. No one has been able to run on them. Now, part of that was skewed because last week
they're always ahead and no one runs.
Well, and Tampa Bay ran the ball like 6 times total.
That's what I'm saying is
so that skews the number a little bit. But I mean, Jacobs in back-to-back games against arguably the 2 best rushing defenses in the AFC went bonkers. Like he's breaking his own records back to back.
Corey, see that defensive holding on Malcolm Kuntz never happened. Well,
dude, I'm telling you, after that Derek Carr roughing the passer that had everyone all hot and bothered, the ref spent the next like 2.5 quarters just like doing make goods. It's like, all right, we're gonna make it up to these guys. They were fearful of leaving that stadium with their lives, those refs, and they were calling the game accordingly. I would say that's the biggest reason we lost. There's a lot of reasons, but I put that as number 1.
Cockfighter. Jones is a mini John Holmes. Indeed.
John Jones. Jones Holmes.
No, Chris Jones. Fucking Jones Holmes.
Jones Holmes. God. Chris Jones Holmes.
Oh, God. Look, was I expecting to win tonight? No. Was I pleasantly surprised about how well we did play?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was I surprised at how uneven our play was? Not at all. Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons why I felt that this game wasn't going to be as close as it was. I feel that the next time we play them, I think it's going to be a much better game, not only because it's going to be at our home, but because I think our team is going to be able to gel a little bit better. One of the things that JMD and Patrick Graham said, they wanted thinking players, and a lot of these players aren't their guys, man. So when you see a lot of mistakes out there, you're gonna have to iron those out over time. You're not gonna just iron out a big crease right away. You're gonna have to work at it. So it's gonna take some time, man. I'm not giving up on the year. 9-3 is definitely a possibility. We can do that, especially with the teams we have coming up. I don't see that we can't do that. But here's the deal: because we lost to the Cardinals, because we lost, to the Titans, 2 teams that we should have beat. There's a couple teams down the road that maybe we shouldn't have beaten, like the Rams, maybe, like the 49ers, a couple of those types of games that maybe we would be iffy back and forth. We got to get those. We got to get those games.
So I disagree because I thought that this was when we'd get the Chiefs because we were kind of a trap game, right? They had the Bucks last week and they have the Bills next week. So I can't help but think
we're never a trap game for the Chiefs, bro. We're never a trap game.
That's how we beat them last time. The last time the Raiders beat the Chiefs, remember they had we
also scored 34 points. We scored a lot of points. You have to score a lot of points to beat this team.
I know. And that's, I think, why we did, because I think we caught, look, when you got the Bills coming to town in 6 days, you can't help but kind of look forward a little bit, especially after what the Chiefs did to us last season in 2 games. This was our chance to catch. I'm not saying we can't beat them, later on in the season at home. When is that game? I know it's real. Oh, it's the season finale.
It's season finale.
January
8th, last game.
Season finale. Yeah. I'm not saying we can't win that game, but I'm just saying, I think we caught them looking ahead and looking back a little bit.
Look, ultimately, I kind of felt in my heart, all right, we'll probably go 500 in division, right? Maybe we lose we split with the Chiefs. I said in my head, okay, look, we whip on the Broncos like we normally do. We split with the Chargers, and we drop 2 to the Chiefs. Let's just say that. It doesn't matter what combination you choose. That's 3 losses right there. But then you throw in the losses to the fucking Tennessee, throw the losses to the Cardinals that we shouldn't have lost. Those losses are mounting up, man. So we only got 3 more, really. If we want to get to 10 wins, we only got, 3 more losses to go. So we have to beat fucking realistic Raiders, still staying San Diego. Love it. I love it. They'll always be San Diego shit dicks to me. Shit dicks. I used to call them San Diego. SD, shit dicks. But look, is it over? No, but do you need to be do you need to find out who the guys are that you can build with? Yes. Because you want to win every week, but you also have to figure out what works too. You can't just be throwing shit out there and throwing guys out there that aren't working in your scheme. Fucking Rory's boy, Illuminor, another 2 freaking penalties in the first quarter. Come on, man. We gotta clean that up. Fucking Thayer Mumford, another fucking penalty. Look, he's a 7th rounder, whatever. We got to find our identity. We got to find out what we really want. And if we want to commit to this running game, then we have to commit to using real capital, and not whiff like Leatherwood, but use real capital on that offensive line. Yeah. I like some of the pieces there, but we need real upgrades on this line.
Let's take some questions. Corey C. or statements, or in this case, a demand. Corey C. I would fire him. Talking about Josh McDaniels and Patrick Graham. We've been hearing this fire stuff since week 3. Get it out of your head, please.
It's not happening.
Get it. Look, if you want to vent to us, go ahead, but don't expect this to happen, right?
Dude, Matt Rule got a 2nd year, okay? And he finally got fired after going 1-4 this year, after going 4-13 last year or something like that, 5-12 or something like that. Just get it out of your head. You're not firing.
Look, if this year ends terribly and next year starts going terribly, I'll be the first person to say, fuck, Josh McDaniels and Ziegler had the best possible scenario a new head coach can ask for, right? Playoff team, franchise players, Pro Bowlers all over the place, 10-win team. It's if he really does fail after, let's say midway through next season, then I'll be there. I'll be there with pitchforks and torches with the rest of you. But come on, 5 games into a brand new everything, new coordinators, new offensive coordinators, new players, new scheme. He has a complex system. We're not giving up on the coaching staff 5 games into a season. Stop it.
Especially when we've been the closest that we've been in years to beating this team. Yeah, we lost the game, and there's no such thing as moral victories. You have to look at one thing though. We got really damn close, and it wasn't by accident. Those were plays that were drawn up, things that were identified after that second defensive pass interference penalty on Devontae Adams. They took that rookie off of him. They were moving his ass around, and they were not putting him on Devontae Adams anymore. That's something that probably was seen in scouting. It's one of the lead scouts, the guy that scouts teams 2-3 weeks ahead, probably saw in that, and it's there. You can see the pieces. Unfortunately, some of the mistakes, and they rear their ugly head at the wrong time. We get one penalty, then we get another one. So now it's not 1st and 15, it's 1st and 25. You're like, oh shit.
Jaybird 26. After this loss, the bye week is here at the best moment, gives everyone a chance to cool down and reset. I mean, look, there were 17 things that if they went our way, we win, but they went the other way and we lost, and we'd be feeling very different, right? It'd be the exact same team, right? Same players, same coaches, same scheme, same everything, but we'd be 2-3 coming off back-to-back wins and optimistic going into this bye week, right? This isn't like last season when the Chiefs just bent us over and smacked us and we're like, fire everybody and burn everything to the ground, right? This isn't that scenario. When games are that close, like they see the statistics all the time, right? Things eventually go back to the mean, right? Last year, we had all those incredible one possession games that we won, right? Like we got all those ones. This time, it's going the other way, right? It's not going to go that way forever. Like losing close possession, one possession games and being this close isn't something that's like in the DNA of the team. It's just, again, like I said, 17 things. If they go our way instead of their way, we win, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just little things here and there. Hugo GV, so don't act like we chose not to score points. Of course, we didn't choose to not score points, but you have to take a look at a lot of things. You have to take a look at execution. You have to take a look at play calling. You have to take a look at penalties. Mm-hmm. It's all what I talked about being consistent. When you're inconsistent in any one of those areas, you're gonna find it hard to score points. The gospel truth, I agree with you. Being close is not a W, and I never said it was. But when in the context of you're asking to fire the coaching staff, this coaching staff had a realistic game plan of how to attack this Chiefs team, and by and large, it was working. There was a few plays down the stretch that didn't go our way. Unfortunately, that's the way football goes, man. Ultimately, it comes down to players making plays, and we have to figure out what happened on that last play. I don't necessarily agree with throwing that ball. I get the first down, and you have a quarterback that's known for getting you in position to kick long field goals. You have a kicker who has just ice water running all through his dick stem, and I don't understand the long pass at that. It just seemed very egotistical to do that play again. And
I mean, if Hunter and Devontae don't run into each other, maybe we're back to like that 4th and 1 call from the first half where it's like brilliant, genius.
Devontae still wasn't open. He got jammed at the line. It wasn't going to be an easy pass. It wasn't going to be as easy as the first one was.
Original Raider 72. Defense gets an excuse every game on this channel.
I didn't say. Did I excuse it? I didn't know if I excused it. I said that
do we give the defense too much credit? I don't feel like we do.
I just said that we don't have enough talent on defense. I don't know what else you want me to say.
I'm harder on the defense than you are.
I just said we don't have enough talent. I don't know how much harder I can be. They're out there. I said they missed a lot of tackles. I said Hobbs didn't have a good game. I said that our linebackers just are not good enough. They're not good enough for a modern NFL.
We're last in the NFL in takeaways. Like, we thought that would be a bigger part of Patrick Graham's defense. More takeaways.
Please, I'm very interested in this. What else do you want me to say? I'm saying we're not talented enough. We missed a lot of tackles. Our secondary played poorly. I said Merrick got exposed.
I think what he's saying is probably that you keep going back to we needed to score more points. And I think that's why he feels
here's
like
the issue.
The
Hang on, I want to address this.
You can say, tell us why you think that.
I want to address this. you don't have to go a complete opposite pendulum swing. You don't have to make that huge jump where I say, did I say we had to score every single possession? I didn't say that. I said we did have to continue to score, because when you continue to score, you continue to put pressure on the Chiefs, and you don't make things so easy on them, right? You make them a little bit more one-dimensional, where they're not running the ball and they're not throwing those quick passes anymore. They need to throw the ball down the field further, because they know when we get the ball back, we're going to eat up more clock. They have to score quicker. They don't have the time because we're not putting up points. So I'm not saying I'm not excusing the defense, but when you have that big a lead, when you're playing this type of team, you do have to keep on scoring. Defensively, I say we're just not as talented. We need to be more talented on defense. We played poorly in the secondary, a lot of missed tackles. Merritt got exposed for his coverage skills. Kelsey burnt the shit out of his dick. And our linebacking core is not the best coverage. I mean, we need to, in this modern NFL, your linebackers need to be able to cover a little bit better. Divine Diablo got a lot better against the run, but in the past, he got exposed a couple times. So I don't know what else you want me to say.
How would you grade Josh McDaniels today?
I give him a B. I think that some of the decisions that he made early paid off. You know, that long 4th down call, it paid off. Identifying the matchup issues, because we were running the ball to get those pass interference calls. That's stuff that's been scouted. You know, going for 2. I mean, it's shit. If we make it and we stop it, that's the thing, is you can't. And we almost made it too. We were right there. But so it's. I give him a B. I think he put us in the game. He kept us in the game.
I think you're being very, very generous.
Of course, because you want to blame everything on him.
I mean, there's a lot to be blamed on him for a 1-4 start with a fantastic playoff team.
Oh, you said tonight. What would you give him? Like his grade tonight?
Well, again, I think the focus is on the wrong things, like the going for 2, the 4th and 1, going for it on 4th. Like those are like 50-50 things, right? Like I can understand kicking the extra point. I can understand going for 2, right? Like the focus is on the wrong things. To
Rick
me,
Rada, I agree with you, man. We played to win and it didn't happen. It didn't work. We played to win. What I mean, I don't understand.
Well, that's what I think the focus is on the wrong things with McDaniels. I think more of the focus needs to be like, can we scheme Devontae open? Can we now he's starting to adjust better, right? Like I will say that, because I think this was the kind of play calling that you wanted to see out of the Raiders, that you've been calling for, right?
Yeah,
and heavy,
and it worked, man. When we were doing it, but the thing is the fucking penalties, man. The penalties put us back, and the Chiefs know how to get to our quarterback. They know how to do it, and when he's an obvious passing downs, by and large, it hadn't been great.
That's what we get for complimenting Josh McDaniels on the penalties all week. Like, oh, he's got our penalties down. This is great. And then bam.
We had 7 penalties today? 8 penalties, something like that?
9.
Oh, God. That's even worse than I thought.
9. No, I'm sorry. It's worse. 11 penalties. It was 99 yards. That's why I had 9 in my head. 99 yards, 11 penalties. And yet all anyone's going to talk about, I don't want to hear any Chiefs fans complaining about that pass interference on Derek Carr when the ref spent the rest of the entire game doing make good calls. Come on. I would absolutely switch. We get the we don't get the pass interference, and the game's actually called and like refereed correctly for the rest of the game. Please. Anyone else stand out to you for good or bad, for richer or for poor, sickness and in health?
Josh Jacobs, fucking beast.
Yeah, can't talk about him enough.
Keep giving him the ball. He just can't. Our offensive line, fucking Jakob Johnson, dude. He is a fucking tank.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever he got into the game, he freaking stuck it to somebody. I wouldn't give him the ball. But man, can he block? He's in there for a reason, and man, he can do it really well.
They live in Missouri. Let them have this win. Waller is stealing from the Raiders, Rick Rada. It's certainly looking like it. Again, 5 games into the season. I'm not giving up McDaniels. I'm not giving up on Patrick Graham. I'm not giving up on Darren Waller. 5 games. 5 games. This is a roster built in a 3-year window, right? Devontae, Waller, Hunter, Max, they're all Carr, like they're all kind of like 3-year-ish around there type contracts. There's some like longer ones with void years and stuff, but basically it's like, all right, we have this 3-year window, and that's when we got to make the moves. And again, I'm not forgiving Waller for dropping everything and always getting hurt. I'm not forgiving McDaniels for going 1-4 with a good. This isn't a forgiveness thing. It's don't cut off your nose to spite your face, right? It's not like don't blow, don't divorce your wife after your first fight. You know what I mean? Cheat on her first and then divorce her a year later. Like do it correctly. All right. Be a man. That's what it's about.
So look, I have a question for you, RJ.
Fire away.
Why would you run the ball for the 2-point conversion and not run the ball 4th and 1?
I think one led to the other. I think he's like, fuck, we didn't get that 2-point conversion. Let's not risk it again. And also the clock, right? There's what?
You had plenty of time. It was 40-something seconds, dude.
Seconds left.
You clock it, you still have in the high 20s.
I mean, you'll still have time, but you still want to save as much as possible. I think that was part of it.
He wasn't trying to save time with that throw. That throw was to score right then and there, which we've seen 13 seconds is still too much to give the fucking Chiefs.
Well, you asked a question, that's my answer. I think because it got stuffed the first time, they're less likely to do it again. And also, I think clock was part of the equation. Maybe not the entire equation, but I think it was part of the equation. If there's 40 seconds left in a football game, you kind of always think pass, right? As opposed to run, but I don't know. I think that'll we'll watch Josh McDaniels post-fight presser, obviously, or post-fight. I'm still in UFC mode. Post-game presser, and I'm sure he'll be asked about all those questions, and we'll find out what that is. But obviously, we're doing the show right now. But that's my guess, is that he just adapted. It's like, all right, we got stuffed the first time. Let's try this again. And also, it worked so well in the first quarter, right, on that 4th and 1. Touchdown, you know what I mean? Devontae.
Yeah, but he's on different players around. I think it was more of a personnel thing there. You got the rookie on him. I mean, look, ultimately, the play calling was, by and large, I think it was good. I think there was a lot of execution errors, not just play wise, but like penalty wise as well, that put us in rough positions. And JMD said it. He said we put our penalties put us behind. And we're just not that offense right now to be able to pick up those long first downs. And we've proven that we're not. When we're in obvious passing situations, we don't do very well.
Yeah.
So we got to stay out of those. You stay out of those by running the football and not committing a lot.
We do pretty well in the 4th. I mean, the Titans game, we were basically in a 2-minute offense for 5 minutes. We kept it close. Today, other than Devontae and Hunter running into each other, right? And before that, when Devontae juggled the ball, that put us basically in field goal range, right? If Devontae catches that one.
Yeah, code 17 said bottom line, if Adams gets 2 feet down, we win the game. I think that's maybe part of his frustration when he pushed the cameraman. Yeah, like what the get the fuck out of my way, cameraman. You see me walking, don't make me fucking change my direction.
I'm saying it's a stand your ground state, right? Like you're walking to the tunnel, that's your right of way. And if the cameraman just runs in front of a bunch of football players going back to their locker room, come on.
It's like,
if anything, Devontae should be suing the cameraman for getting in his way. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You can see a couple different options. It could be Devontae got jammed really hard at the line of scrimmage and threw him off a little bit, his timing off on his route. Hunter hasn't been practicing. I think he went back to practice last Thursday, 2 days ago. Maybe he ran the wrong route. Maybe he got too much depth. Maybe he didn't get enough depth. Who knows? But them running into each other is absolute fucking this bad news bear style. Terrible.
Let's give a shout out to Max Crosby's future daughter for having the decency to be born on a bye week. Props to her. True Raider right there. Not coming out early, so Max was able to travel to Kansas City, play the game. She's taking notes from my daughter. My daughter was born on a bye week 3 years ago, so it's good. It runs in the family. Glad to see that.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't have much humor in me right now.
I know you're slowing down. All right, well, let's get you out of here so you can keep drinking.
You know, look,
that's it for us.
I'll leave us for this. I'll leave us with this.
Okay.
From The Natural. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, but losing is a disease. Once you catch it, it's hard to get rid of it. And losing happens when you don't execute. And that's not just the players on the field. That's the coaches. That's the scouts. That's everybody. Mm-hmm. Losing is a disease. And when you catch it, it's hard to get rid of it. So hopefully we get better.
Shampoo and little comb.
No, I'm being serious. I'm being serious right now. Losing is a disease. Hopefully we get better in this bye week. We come back stronger. But it's true. You get used to losing, and you find ways to lose late in games.
I'm still of the belief. I'm still of the belief that time is our friend, in the sense that this team is still gelling, still figuring itself out, still learning new systems, all that kind of stuff. I'm still firmly of that belief, despite going 1-4. And I think the play has done that, right? Like, we're 1-4, but our best 2 games have been our last 2 games. Like, when we lost to the Chiefs, it's hard to say it's one of our better games. It was better than the first 3 games, right? I think we are going in the right direction. And I think an extra week off is going to help a lot. And that's what I think. So a couple new changes. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly is now going to be its own standalone show instead of us waiting all the way till Thursday to talk about a game. So we got that going for us. Regular show on Wednesday as always. But you get some little bonus stuff. So you don't have to wait till Thursday for
boner stuff.
All right. That's it for us. And until next time, knock on wood if you're with me.